Because, you know, if you tried to have sex in the pool, you know that's not easy. And you're getting resistance.
Because if you've ever tried to have sex in the pool, you know that it's difficult and that there will be resistance. You're trying to get me to move on now, right? You tell me to get involved in the conversation, and when I did, you told me to stop talking. Meanwhile, the women on The View were talking endlessly about that topic while Whoopi Goldberg, who may or may not still have a job, let them off. It happened again. Let's talk about Whoopi Goldberg and the words she constantly uses to get herself into trouble. She opened her mouth as usual and generated quite a stir on social media. You might be wondering what those interesting things are that Whoopi Goldberg said on a recent episode of The View that were so interesting that the producers had to go to a commercial break to get her to stop talking. Alexander Beach is overrated for the sex in both, so you might be wondering, if you've ever attempted to have sex in a pool, you know that's not simple. So Mrs. Goldberg was talking about, well, just sex on the beach and sex in the pool and her experiences with both. The focus of The View has always been on a panel of guests sharing their opinions on current events and culture. The topic wasn't random. It was excitement, specifically a recent Wall Street Journal article outlining how vacation blunders like noisy hotels, sunburns, and food poisoning can kill any chance of a romance. Whoopi Goldberg's TMI pool confession during the August 2 episode, however, was not the take anyone expected to hear during that episode. When Joy Behar mentioned that she liked to drink sex on the beach cocktails while traveling for fun, Goldberg went into her pool sex tangent, saying, you know, sex on the beach is overrated. She even tore up her note cards and said seriously to producer Brian Teta, who was standing at a podium just off-screen after reading the topic. You know, if you tried it in the pool, you know that's not easy because you're trying to go up the hill and you're getting resistance from the water that is within, because when you're in the pool, you're surrounded by the water. Has anyone ever tried to put anything? Of course, the audience and the people present laughed with Goldberg when she said the drink or the action Behar asked, and Goldberg quipped back, both getting a laugh out of the audience because you know if you tried it in the pool, producer was holding back laughter as he held his head in his hand at his podium, as co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin said Teta was going to make them cut to a commercial. Goldberg then said, "Oh, you're trying to move me on now, right?" to the producer. When Goldberg ridiculed Teta, she said, "You tell me to get involved in the conversation, then I start to get involved, and you want me to stop talking, all right. Next topic, I was learning things." Co-star Sunny Hostin responded, saying, "I'm a natural-born blonde. I have a hard time believing you don't understand what I'm talking about if you haven't done any of these things." Goldberg joked that the embarrassment was visible on everyone's face as Goldberg moved on to the next topic with a laugh. But Teta played the music signaling a cut to commercial instead, and eventually he was able to cut her off and continue with the show. However, Goldberg didn't seem to have picked up on the second-hand embarrassment she was giving out, and she would have likely continued the conversation had she been given the chance. The embarrassing talk wasn't that much of a buzzkill compared to all the other times Whoopi Goldberg has made headlines for her controversial remarks, before The View co-host found herself in hot water throughout 2022 after making anti-Semitic remarks about the Holocaust that resulted in a 2-week suspension from the long-running ABC talk show. Whoopi, who previously disclosed that she identified as Jewish, experienced severe backlash after asserting on a The View episode that the Holocaust, which claimed the lives of more than 6 million Jews, was caused by man's inhumanity to man rather than race. Nighttime news-breaking Whoopi Goldberg, a co-host on The View, was given a 2-week suspension for remarks she made about the Holocaust. Nevertheless, ABC News President Kim Godwin announced in a statement that her suspension took effect right away. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish co-workers, friends, family, and communities. Although Whoopi Goldberg apologized at the time, She later doubled down on her stance and claimed she had not meant her words the way they were portrayed, believing she was misunderstood. I am suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I have asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The point Goldberg was trying to make didn't come across as she had intended because people didn't like how unapologetic she was and felt like she hadn't learned her lesson. She could continue to claiming. It didn't change the fact that one couldn't tell a Jew on the street. She claimed it was easy to find people like her but not them. Days later, Whoopi issued a second apology for her remarks to the Sunday Times. Recently, while appearing before the media in London, I was asked about my remarks from earlier this year. I tried to explain to the reporter what I had said and why, and I attempted to recount that occasion. Whoopi later told E! News that she never intended to come across as doubling down on hurtful remarks, especially after speaking with and hearing from people like rabbis and old and new friends who had something to say. The actress's offensive comments about World War I were far from the only controversy she has drawn over the years. In July 2015, when Bill Cosby was facing numerous allegations of sexual assault, the host said quite honestly, "Having been on both sides of this where people allege that you do something, it doesn't matter now people have something," referring to Barbara Bowman's claims. She claimed that after Bill Cosby was accused of assaulting Whoopi, Goldberg received criticism for her forthright defense. As a result of the criticism, Goldberg changed her position and stated during an appearance on ABC News later that month that she could no longer maintain that Cosby was innocent until proven guilty if this case is to be tried in the court of public opinion. She said it looks bad, Bill, either speak up or shut up. Not only has Whoopi made her name for her controversial statements, but even though she and Rosie O'Donnell only co-hosted The View for a year, the two had their fair share of run-ins, including one tense argument. "You are a white lady teaching me what racism is to you," Goldberg told O'Donnell, "and you don't have to be black to understand what racism is." In her book, O'Donnell responded, opening up about the conflict between the two. Some might ask, what's wrong with Whoopi? I asked you if you were watching the show since it was quite obvious that I didn't want a public fight. O'Donnell penned. Let's hope this time around after watching her humiliating episode, Whoopi might back down a little. After watching her humiliating episode, Whoopi Goldberg was as mean and even has ever been on television to me personally while I was sitting there. The worst experience I've ever had on live television was interacting with her. Well, let's hope this time around after watching her humiliating episode, Whoopi might back down a little. A fan on Twitter said, "I never watched that vile show. She really is horrible. I used to respect her. Never ever. Please remember that this video is based on supposition and opinions." Please share your thoughts in the comments section. If you liked this video, please press the like button and subscribe for more exciting updates.